Hey all, rulgert here. I am working on the new rulgert rig, SRT rope access system that I'm developing here at Earth Synergetics. I did develop a hitch that I named the Synergy X Hitch, but I've changed it. But it's still, I'm going to call this one the Synergy X Hitch. This is the finished Synergy X Hitch. It's gone through, you know, the name stayed the same, and I've just gone through a lot of different configurations. I'm going to be running 10mm static HTP static line. This is an 11.5mm double braid, just to represent my climbing line. But I'll be running 10mm static HTP hitch based rope walking. This is different than my Farino based system because it's going to be a rope walking system. I now have a tooth ascender punt that goes on a foot ascender, and now my foot jack here this isn't finished, but yeah, I just got a Zeppelin bend on there right now just to hold it together. But the hitch cord will actually be my alternate foot ascender. I'll be actuating the bridge, and the reason for that is you know, when we don't ever, you know, as ascent, you know, people that do ascent work, you don't ever want something bad to happen, a hard shock load or anything like that. But if it does, you know, the thing is you know, if you have a fall and you pull, you know, 4 G's in your saddle, you could get hurt really bad and not even hit the ground. You know, so I just worry about these. Not that it'll ever happen, but if it does, this is I'm gonna just go through the hitch here, okay? But when I get to this part down here, okay, there might be some eye rolling as to how this is affixed to the carabiner, okay, which will clip onto the rope bridge. But the idea here is that this will absorb energy and slide down in a heavy-duty shock load situation. And you know, in a situation like that, not that it'll ever happen, we try to avoid these things, but if, you know, people will be glad that it's there. Okay, and I know I will be, and I'll be more comfortable. Okay, because if something happens, you know, that's there to you know, absorb energy that my body doesn't have to absorb. Even if it moves just a couple inches, it's something, you know, it's less pain. Okay, so it starts out with a Schwabish. It's a 4 over 1 under. Okay, now the reason I went with that, this is like a multi-stage hitch, and that's what the Synergy X Hitch development project has been the whole time, is trying to develop a multi-stage hitch for SRT where the rope has room to lose heat between stages, where it's dragging heat away from the hitch cord and dissipating it, you know, between stages. Like here, there's, you know, an air space, and all the way down this. Okay, there's room for the rope to lose heat. Now, the reason I went with the Schwabish is because, you know, it has this loop, and the hitch cord, the tails come out in the same direction, in the same spot, which is exactly what I needed for my second stage here. And it looks very complex, and in some ways it is, but it's basically a helical granny knot stack. Okay, that's the best way I can describe it. But you come out of the Schwabish, and you tie an overhand, and you thread the rope through it. Now the whole thing is just constructing this until you understand how to tie it. Okay, and I would have to double check with people on this. You know, you'd have to really make sure you understand what I'm doing here. Okay, before you run this. Now, I could do another video of me tying it, and I probably will do that. If people want to just wait for that. Okay, but just as an overview, you know, if somebody wants to experiment and try to replicate this, okay, it comes out of the Schwabish, these two here. You tie an overhand, and you thread it through kind of the crossover point. Now, the easiest way to do it, if you think about it as a helical granny knot stack, is you keep threading it the same way, and these loops here, there's a double course of these loops that I have pinched together, but if you construct it with them 180 degrees apart, it's easier to understand, it's easier to see the helical pattern develop. It's just a helical granny knot stack. And you know, the way it's threaded. But in the end, what you want to do after you construct it, you know, because you can see that it's a helical granny knot, and it's churning, okay, and you pinch the sides together so that you have this, like right here, you have these loops coming over. Okay, now there's 5 granny knots in this helical granny knot stack. Okay, and you pinch them together so that when it comes out of the Schwabish, it's going right into that row. Okay, and that row is helical, and it moves around the second stage of the hitch. Okay, then when I get down to the carabiner here, I'm running an interlocked, I'll show you both sides of this. Okay, it's an interlocked clove hitch, the double clove, interlocked double clove hitch on the carabiner, where you set the carabiner next to the bottom of the granny stack with the 2 tails pointing away, and you curl them underneath the carabiner, cross them, come over again, and then you got to look at it. Okay, here's one side. Okay, here's the other, and that's how it comes out. And it's basically an interlocked clove hitch going around the carabiner. Like I said, it's very strong, but like I said, my foot loop, okay, the tails come out, and I got a long enough piece of hitch cord where this forms my foot loop, and it's also my emergency shock load pain reliever. Okay, you know, that's the whole thing. We don't want to hit the ground, okay, but we don't want to have a freaking 4 or 5 GD cell either. Okay, so there's that's how that goes. So, you know, it can burn up heat on the way down, and of course the hitch would then be too also. But you know, I'm really excited about this hitch. There's snow on the ground right now. My rope is iced in, and I haven't had a chance to run this. Okay, but this is a preliminary video. I've been talking with Tom Chudley, the tree sphere builder, the treehouse guy, who is just the best treehouse builder of all time. And he's kind of somewhat interested in what I'm doing here. You know, I don't know. He's kind of does the rock style, because he's all straight up and down on those Douglas firs, and it just makes more sense for him. But for me and the deciduous, this type of thing does make sense. And then too, Tom has had to go to like Germany and places where he's working on occasion with deciduous installs, and so there's just some interest to it, you know, see how this goes. So I'm gonna just post this on YouTube, and you know, if word of mouth, it gets around a little bit, but I'm not gonna call a lot of attention to it right now, because I want to really run this through the ringer. But you know, right now, I mean, it grabs really good, it advances really well, and I don't even need a pulley with this setup. The way I got this, I do not need a pulley to advance the hitch. It'll just move up. I'll run my bungee around here, and it'll just go. But it advances very nice. The granny stack compresses. It advances very smooth, and then on the way down, the Schwabish grabs first, and then the granny knots just cinch up on it, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful hitch. The heat dissipation of a hitch like this is far beyond any single stage hitch, you know. And two, the granny stack, it certainly has a lot more gripping power than a Tressy, you know. So it's a very interesting hitch. It has the ability to, you know, lose heat like a multi-stage hitch, you know, and do the job for people who do run hitch-based SRT. Heat buildup is the primary thing. So this is the main hitch of the new rulgert rig, rope walking SRT system. I'll put up another video probably early this spring with the proof out on the whole rig, and then I'll go over how to tie this after I've confirmed myself that this is, like I said, this is experimental at this point. Don't anybody climb on this unless you're going real low and slow and you really know what you're doing and you're just checking it out, okay? But I want to give the go-ahead on it, being that I'm putting it out there. You know, it takes some of the responsibility. Like I said, you know, whenever you tie a knot, it's a mechanism that you're responsible for. But I have to, you know, show exactly how it's tied and all that stuff. And then too, with hitches, you have to, you know, I can't take too much responsibility because you have to make sure your hitch cord is broken, that your hitch is broken, that the rope and the hitch cord are compatible. There's all kinds of different things. But as far as the configuration of tie, you know, once I validate that, you know, that it is going to be something. Definitely. I mean, hitch-based SRT has always been a pain in the rump. There's just all kinds of different devices and things, people trying to figure out a way to get rid of all that freaking heat, because your rope's, you know, moving half speed, and it's grabbing twice as hard because it's got, you know, twice as much weight, and it's moving half as fast, and you just get a lot of freaking heat that you got to somehow deal with. And I believe that this is the answer for small diameter hitch-based SRT. And I'm really excited about it. The Synergy X Hitch by Earth Synergetics. Like I said, instructional videos coming soon. Thank you. Bye.